The Extraordinary Rendition of Janos Farkas. Chapter 19. The cloy of cheap perfume hung in the still air. Breuer felt like an intruder, a voyeur into a world that wasn't his own. Padded bras, stiletto heels, latex miniskirts. He watched the face in the mirror applying lipstick. The lips pursed, then pushed down, then pursed again. "How do I look, darling?" the face asked. "Too much lippy?" Detective Schmidt looked in the mirror, pursed his lips, and applied even more lip gloss. "There's never too much," he said. "The men like their lippy wet and shiny. And the eyes, darling, what about the eyes? Enough lash length? When I bat them, does it turn you on?" Breuer remained silent and watched as the policeman pulled a puffed-up blonde wig over his skull cap. Standing up, Detective Schmidt pushed up his padded bra and straightened the tight sweater. "How do I stack up?" he asked Breuer. Breuer didn't answer because there was no answer for it. Schmidt turned sideways and looked at his butt in the mirror. "God, I hate this damn job," he said. "If I had my way, I'd let whoever is slashing the queer's tits get on with it." "You said the name was Stephanie." "That's what we think," Breuer replied. "And she was old?" "Yes, my source said she looked to be in her 40s. "Well, if she looked to be in her 40s, she was probably in her 60s. You've seen just how much crap I've had to put on to go out. Drag queens are ageless. Their tits never sag. Their makeup covers their face until one day they hit the wall and it all comes apart. Then there's nothing even cosmetic surgery can do for them. It sounds like your Stephanie is on that edge. Have you heard of him?" "Her. If you want to find him, you'll have to look for her. It's one of the rules." And the answer is no. No, I haven't heard of her. There are over 300,000 gays, lesbians, and transsexuals in Berlin. And that doesn't count the closet queers and cross-dressers that only come out at nights and weekends. But an old queen should be easier to find than a young one, particularly if she was on the stage. That would mean she has a history, maybe cabaret, maybe underground films or porn, maybe even legitimate theater or movies. Could you ask around a bit, keep an eye out? Of course. But the ones I'm involved with are all in the sex trade. Not all transvestites turn tricks. Some are actually straight. They just like to put on the show. "Where should I start?" Breuer asked. "I presume you've checked the transvestites and drag queens in our files." "Yes." "All three names?" Schmidt asked. "All three. Transvestites often adapt their female name from their male name. Steve, Stephen, Stefan. Anyone could be Stephanie." Breuer shook his head. "It probably wouldn't have helped anyway," Schmidt told him. "If she's an old queen who has been of interest to us, somebody would have already done the cross-reference for you and the computer would have spit it out. You'll have to try casting agents and clubs. I'd try the Kit Kat. Any queen who's anybody has been to the Kit Kat. Here, darling, do you want to borrow my lippy?" "Why?" "They have a dress code and it doesn't include anything you're wearing. Go kinky is my suggestion. Unless, of course, you have a fetish, that will do." Breuer neither went kinky nor fetish. It was mid-afternoon and the club wouldn't be open for hours yet. His hope was to find someone who was cleaning up or setting up, someone who had been around a long time. He parked his Volkswagen several blocks away and walked along Brukenstrabe to the club. Doubling back, he saw Turkoman looking in a shop window. Satisfied that he was being followed, Breuer made his way to the club. He knocked on the main doors and got the answer he expected. None. So he went around the building to the back. There would have to be a stage entrance, or a servant entrance, or a garbage exit or something. The door he found was open and he went inside to a dark, narrow hallway with doors going off it. At the far end was an open door with a light coming through it. He could hear a piano. Turning around, he went back to the door he had come through and pulled it closed. When he heard the security latch click, he smiled. He didn't want Turk coming in while he was still there. Then he turned to follow the music. There was only a single stage light and a small piano lamp giving any illumination to the main room. On the stage, a woman wearing an ankle-length black sequin topcoat was singing a vintage cabaret song from the 30s. She was not good, but she was better than the piano player who was also on stage accompanying her. When she saw Breuer, she stopped. "Are you my new piano player?" she called out. "No," Breuer replied. "Shit," she said. "This old coot can't play anything." The piano player stood up, gave her the finger, and disappeared into the darkness. "Come closer, sweetie," she said to Breuer. He moved into her small circle of light. "Shit," she said again. "Why can't you be my piano player? It's hard to do a sex act on top of a piano with an old bugger who looks like that." "Screw you," a voice yelled from the darkness. "I know, Albert. That's the whole point, you bloody old raver. Screw me," she yelled back. "Is the manager around?" Breuer asked. "No," the woman answered. "Just us. I'm supposed to be working out a new routine with a piano player, but look what they gave me." "Are you sure you don't play?" "No one will really care how good you are. They'll just be interested in what we do on top of the piano." "Sorry," Breuer answered. "What are you doing here?" "I'm looking for someone." "You're a cop, aren't you?" "Yes," Breuer answered, seeing no reason to deny it. "I don't like cops," she said. "I don't either," Breuer replied. "My father was a cop." She laughed. "Who are you working for?" "A transvestite," he said, older, maybe 50s or 60s, likes to act. Does straight woman parts like Shakespeare and that. Might do a cabaret act, I'm not sure. I don't have much to go on. Uses the name Stephanie. You ever heard of her?" "No," the woman replied, "but then I'm not from around here. I do the circuit. Copenhagen, Vienna, Marseille, Prague, Munich, Amsterdam. My own piano player left me in Budapest. Told me I was getting too old. Look at this. Does this look too old?" She opened her black sequin coat. Beneath it, she was naked. Breuer didn't answer. "Are you sure you're a cop?" she asked. "When I show this, most cops think they can get a little for free." Breuer shook his head. "So you haven't heard of this Stephanie or anyone like that?" "Most of the clubs I do are small, not like this one. The people who go to them go to see the real thing." "Sorry, maybe you should ask Kirsten." "Who's Kirsten?" "Kirsten Kruger. She and her partner Simon own the kitty. You just missed her. She let us in to practice, but she's gone now." "When will she be back?" "If you want to find Kirsten, come tonight. It's Carnival Bazaar party night, and she's always at the front door to make sure the dress code is adhered to. If you want, I can lend you something in rubber." "No thanks," Breuer replied. "I'll come as I am." "She won't let you in." "I am a cop, remember?" "You come as a cop and no one will talk to you. Do rubber, sweetie. You look great in rubber." "Maybe I'll see you tonight." "I'll look forward to it," she answered. "And sweetie." "Yes?" "If you really want to find your woman, I'd go over and check out the Schoenberg scene. It can get pretty kinky over there, and the kitty's almost legit now." "Thanks," Breuer replied. "I'll find my own way out." "You found your own way in," she said, and turned from Breuer and started to dance to some imaginary piece of music, her coat swinging more seductively than it had when he came in. Breuer made his way back to the corridor leading to the back door. In the darkness, the soft glow of the red exit light led him towards it. He was halfway along the corridor when he felt a hand grab his arm. He became pure instinct as he threw all his weight in the direction of the grab. Whoever had grabbed him would have expected him to pull away, but Breuer's weight hit the person, and both of them crashed against the wall. Breuer's free forearm under the other's chin, waiting to crush the Adam's apple into oblivion. "Don't hurt me," the voice said. Breuer pushed the chin up to get a good look at the face. It was Albert, the old piano player. "I can help you," Albert said. "I heard what you were talking about. I think I know who you were looking for. His name is Stefan Weimer. He used to use the stage name Marlene Double D. He did a cabaret act where he was Marlene Dietrich. He sang Lily Marlene and eventually stripped, revealing he was a man. I was his piano player. What happened to him? We split up 20 years ago. He wasn't into the transvestite scene. He hated it. At the end of his act, straight men would come up and proposition him. He wasn't into that. He had tits, but that was all. He was a man. In the end, he couldn't take it anymore. He wanted out. That's when we split up. The man I am looking for calls himself Stephanie, not Marlene. Stephanie is the name he used after he left the cabaret scene. His real love was acting. That's what he wanted to do, real acting, real theater, not some cabaret spook with his balls hanging out. He had a knack for languages. He could go anywhere and act. He should have become one of the great leading ladies of all time. What happened? The same thing. Macho men don't want to play opposite someone they can't screw. And Stephanie didn't want to do sex scenes with men. He wound up doing bit parts in small theaters where they didn't know him. Do you know where he is now? Is he in trouble? No. He was in a play. I need to know who put the play on, who produced it. What kind of play? It was a version of Hamlet set in Sarajevo. Did you hear of it? Brüller asked. Albert looked at him without answering, but Brüller could see in his eyes that an answer was there. You know about it, don't you? He said. No, Albert said, shaking his head. What does Stephanie have to do with it? I told you, he was in it. He was playing Hamlet's mother. So? So he would know who put it on. That's all I want to know. If I knew who that was, I wouldn't even been looking for Stephen or Stefan or Stephanie or Marlene or wherever he wants to call himself. He's scared. Then you do know where he is. You promise he's not in trouble? Yes, Brüller replied. I only need to know a name, and no one will ever know where the name came from. There were several actors there. The name could have come from any of them, but I don't know them. The only one I know is Stephanie. He's gone into hiding. Where? He is scared, so scared. There are people he should be frightened of, but I'm not one of them, because I can get these people before they get to him. There is a man outside, right now, who is following me. He wants the same information I do, but he is a killer. If he gets to Stephanie before I do, I cannot promise what will happen. He told me there were guns. Guns? And bullets. Real bullets. He said they were in the middle of a scene when a bunch of men in black masks stormed the stage and made them all lay face down. One of them fired his machine gun. Stefan thought it might have been part of an act, but the bullets were real. He saw the holes they were making. They were all ushered out of the theater. They were told that if any of them talked, they would be killed. He's scared stiff. I don't think he'll talk to you. Where is he now? I can't tell you, I promised. But you'll tell the man outside. No, I won't. You will, because he will beat you until you do. And then, when you have, he will kill you. It is what he does. Albert looked at him with fear in his eyes. I am the better choice, Brüller reassured him. Tell me, and I will not let him go near you. How? He is following me. When I leave, he will come in to see who I have talked to. You and the woman leave now by the front door, and I will wait here for you to get well away. When you have a 5-minute head start, I'll leave, and he'll either follow me or come in the back door like I did. But he will find no one. You will be gone. He will not know what has happened in here. You promise? Again, I promise. Albert gave him an address on Kodnerstraat. It's an apartment, he said. 5D. Is he there now? Yes. That's the end of Chapter 19. Tomorrow, Chapter 20.